Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Hi, Leanne McAdoo here with Infowars.com, and I'm joined by Dr. Group. You're here today to once again give us just some breaking news. But before you get to that, we've gotten a lot of emails from concerned listeners asking about this mystery flu. And I feel like every single year there's a mystery flu that goes around, but I know Alex actually had a few family members succumb to one of these mystery flus a few years ago. And a lot of people have been writing in saying that they know people are in the hospital. So what's going on with that?
Well, I wouldn't know exactly what's going on with it unless it happened to me, because I was with my family on spring break about 3 weeks ago up in Utah. And as soon as I got there, Salt Lake City, and then went to Deer Valley and Park City, all I saw in the sky was a bunch of chemtrails. So immediately I was concerned about that. And the third day I was there, my body is real sensitive to chemicals and real sensitive to anything in the air, the water, the food, because I've been pretty much vegan, vegetarian. I detoxify my body on a regular basis. So my wife even said something about it. She said, wow, look at all these chemtrails in the air, And then I started noticing a bunch of people walking around coughing, respiratory, and they were even talking about the Park City flu. Everybody was talking about it. So on day 3, with me breathing the air, I was completely knocked out. I mean, I couldn't even move. I was in my bed and I could feel that this was a man-made thing. Because I really pay attention to my body, and I felt like I was being attacked by 3 different organisms at the same time. It's like, this is very strange, and being involved with chemtrails and biological warfare research for years and years, I knew that this was a man-made thing, and I knew that it was being sprayed there, and I was wondering where else it was being sprayed. As I was down and out on day 3, I was drinking bottles of silver every day. I was taking about 100 drops of oregano. I was taking iodine. I was taking everything I could. Honestly, it was probably the worst sickness I've had that I can possibly remember. There was one point where I thought I was literally going to die. And I was actually thinking, I wonder if somebody poisoned me. I wonder if somebody did this to me on purpose. So I didn't have anything to do, so I started getting online. I started doing the research. I was like, what the heck is going on? What I found was it wasn't just in Utah and Colorado. I was looking at maps of chemtrail spraying, satellite maps. I was looking, pulling up news articles about people dying mysteriously all across the nation. And I was piecing together all these things at the same time. And I realized that massive chemtrail spraying started about 4 weeks ago, right before everybody went on spring break. Why? That's a perfect scenario to spread disease all over the country, because you have so many travelers going to all the cities and then they're going back home and spreading it. Mm-hmm. And so what I found out was that they sprayed all along the West Coast, California, then they went all across the top Canada, United States border, then they went all the way down the East Coast, and then they went all the way across the South. And then they went straight across the middle of the United States. So as I was looking into this, I was saying, okay, well, what's going on? What could this be in the chemtrails? And looking at all of the different states all across the nation. And sure enough, North Carolina's had 8 deaths. There's a chronic respiratory infection going on all across the United States, coughing, heart attacks that are happening. I started piecing it all back to a few different organisms that they've found and tested. An organization up in British Columbia in Canada tested and found 3 microorganisms, Pseudomonas, some mold, and another strange organism. And I'm linking that to all these problems that we're having, because ethylene dibromide they're finding in the chemtrails as well, and that is a banned pesticide that causes severe respiratory and immune system dysfunction. Also, I found that the organisms identified in the chemtrails actually cause endocarditis, swelling around the heart, as well as heart attacks. And I've got reports showing individuals that came down with this respiratory illness and died within 2 days. So what I want to do, Leanne, is just let everybody know and be aware that this is going on. We're right in the heart of this right now. If you have family members, if you have anybody that you know, you're going to start hearing more and more and more about this mystery flu, chemtrail flu that's going around, and that you really need to make sure you're breathing clean air in your house and make sure that you're stocked up on your iodine, your silver, because antibiotics will not work on this mysterious flu. And it's really affecting the children. They've even closed down hospitals from people entering because this is getting so bad. So I really want people to understand, hey, this is not just another flu bug. This was, in my opinion, I don't have proof, but I've done a lot of research over the last couple weeks. In my opinion, this was seeded, this was sprayed on us, and we're being used as guinea pigs right now for this, all these organisms that are affecting us all over the place, and mycoplasms. And these things get in the system and can be, some of them are scary. I looked up some of the organisms and they were, commissioned by the U.S. military, patents and all this stuff. So just do your research and know that if you're coming down, look in the sky, look and see if there's a bunch of, chemtrails flying down on you. Protect yourself, wear a mask, whatever, but just have things in your medicine cabinet that can help build your immune system and help strengthen your immune system and help attack any of these organisms that you might be attacked by.
Right, silver, iodine. I know for myself, whenever I do notice spraying in the sky, I always feel like I have really bad allergies that day, but it's only localized to that day. And thankfully, they haven't really been doing that much here in Austin lately that I've seen. But now, what I've read a lot of stuff on this. Why would you think that they would be playing with this? From what I've seen people say, well, we have to do this because you can't even imagine how bad it would be as far as the climate change if we weren't secretly doing this.
Well, the whole climate change issue that they've come up with, we know is a big scam. And what they're doing is, in my opinion, it's the spoken hub model, okay? Like they know, in the hub is the population control, the eugenics program, keep people controllable, keep people manageable, keep people from being aggressive, keep people from revolting against the government. It's the big control factor, and we are overpopulated, and so they're trying to control the population through different methods. So here's the population, and then you have toxins in the water, toxins in the food, toxins in the air, and you have all these things that are affecting people on a regular basis. With the chemtrails, it's a sinister plan, actually, because the more you look into it, what they're spraying is aluminum nanoparticles.
Right.
And the government has approved the use of hundreds of trillion tons of this stuff to be sprayed upon us. And what they're saying is, yes, it works for climate change because it creates a barrier in the sky and the sun reflects off of it. What happens, though, is it blocks the UVB rays. What do we need to live every day and to produce vitamin D? We need the UVB rays. Plants need the UVB rays. So what if you look at the big picture, what you're seeing is not only the aluminum nanoparticles that they're spraying, but there's been probably close to 50 biological organisms that have been identified. There's been DNA from sheep blood and all human blood identified in chemtrails.
Whatever they can find up there to say, how can we block this?
It's a sinister plan, I think, to destroy. What's happening with a lot of it is it's destroying the soil. So it's not only keeping people sick, keeping people dumbed down, causing massive illness, which they can bank off of because all the doctor's visits, and then they're going to be able to sell vaccinations. But recent research has shown that some of these organisms that are getting inside your system and some of these metals that accumulate in your system can actually be controlled through cell phone towers and through frequencies. So they can actually alter what's going on inside your body. And if you look into the history of setting up all these cell phone systems and you look into the history of HAARP technology controlling the weather, to me, that's so scary when you look at frequencies, because you can't see it, feel it, hear it, taste it, nothing.
All these towers everywhere, and really not, what are they going to? There's always that low-level hum going on. So yeah, I've definitely done a lot of research into that as well. But now I've also, a lot of people, whenever we put out these videos, they say, well, why would they just willy-nilly spray? They're going to get affected by it too. It's not like you can control who's going to be breathing in the air or when those particles go down and it gets into the water. I mean, what are we dealing with here? Do they just know, let's stay indoors today? Do they have some type of anti-venom? I mean, how does that work?
There's very, very, very few of the elite, Club of Rome, Illuminati individuals that know about these things, and they do have anti-serums and all that stuff available. As far as, senators, legislators, those guys are so low on the totem pole, they're just puppets. They don't really care about them. I mean, really, they just care about the unique, group of the individuals that are trying to control and depopulate and implement the eugenics programs and stuff like that. So, yeah, a lot of we've looked into the reason why there's not a lot of chemtrail spraying in the Houston area, and people say, well, that's because Bush family lives there and stuff like that. So I think in some of the areas where you do have high level globalists, you're not going to see those cities being heavily sprayed. So there's a lot of different factors that go into that, but there's thousands of deaths, and not only that, they know that you're going to be on antibiotics. A bunch of people are going to run in for antibiotics. A bunch of people are going to run in for flu shots. That's the scary thing with the flu shots and the vaccinations too, with these mycoplasms and these little organisms that can be controlled by frequencies. I think one of the biggest attacks that we're going to have, and that we have had, is going to be in the future through controlling your mind, controlling your cells, controlling the water in your system by emitting harmful frequencies.
Yeah, that's actually something that we're going to be talking about on the news. They've already got that. They're controlling mice right now with that mechanism. So you're absolutely right. This is something that a lot of people are concerned with these EMF frequencies and the smart meters and just this whole smart society that we're building. We are definitely, we need to keep our eyes on what they are spraying in the skies. Well, thank you so much. And for everyone out there, just go ahead and take care of yourselves and your families and make sure you're stocked up on everything that's going to be helping you out in these times.
Thousands of years ago, there was a basic form of chivalry. Our ancestors would hear the drums of war, giving the warriors of the tribe a chance to organize and prepare a defense. 60 years ago, when foreign air forces were approaching filled with bombs, they had drums of their own, air raid sirens. But in the 21st century, there are silent weapons for quiet war. Pathogens added to the food and water, and to the lining of plastics that destroy our vitality, turn off our hormones, and accelerate our journey towards death. I personally counter this onslaught with Anthroplex. Anthroplex is designed with known organic concentrated herbs to create the basic foundation to normal metabolic activity inside the human body. Discover why Anthroplex is turning so many heads today. It's time for us to take our bodies back into our own hands, and it starts at InfoWarsLife.com with Anthroplex.